going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Three Wide Podcast, joined by the Ferrari Man and a new guest on the show, Manla Marco. Everyone clap it up, clap it up. Welcome. How you guys been?
Thank you.
I'm alright, mate. How you doing?
Well, I know you're alright. I fucking met you in the city a couple hours ago.
Yeah.
At work. What about you, Marco? How you been?
You know, men's been chilling. Men's been blessed to be on this podcast for the first time.
Appreciate it.
And appreciate the invite.
Yeah, of course.
Can't wait to get into this.
Yeah. So with F1 season fastly approaching, there's been a couple of livery reveals that I'm going to talk about that we haven't talked about in a minute, which have been Williams and Alfa Romeo. And if you guys want to touch on Red Bull, you guys can. I did that alone in the last episode. But the main two that just recently came out was Williams and Alfa Romeo. And we're going to start out with Williams, who barely changed their livery from last season, let's be honest. However, there's one cheeky little company sponsor on the new Williams car, being Gulf. So maybe we could see some funky Gulf sponsor livery in a couple of races' time, maybe like Monaco or maybe the Canadian Grand Prix, because...
Actually, probably sooner than that, because according to what I've heard, Gulf is going to be giving them the full, I guess, rights to the full Gulf livery, just like they did to McLaren, but they're gonna, from what I heard, they're gonna give it to Williams very soon, like we could see in like 2-3 races' time.
I don't know.
So they're gonna give them a full Gulf livery.
The only thing
Maybe
is...
it'll be like a...
Go on.
My bad.
No, go on.
Maybe it'll be like a one-off livery type of thing.
Yeah,
maybe
definitely.
for one race they'll do like that.
Nah, I'm telling you, I think there's gonna be like a whole like they're gonna give it to them like completely.
Yes,
That's
but they
what
wouldn't
I
use
heard.
it for that much, because what color is mainly Gulf? Orange, right?
Well, it's like orange but light blue.
Isn't there another orange team on the grid right now?
Who?
McLaren. They're papaya.
Garbage can. No, this is the garbage can, the trash bin.
Nah, and then I think what's it called? Williams also got a new sponsor such as PureStream and Multrub Ultra.
Yeah.
And since the departure of Nicholas Latifi, like all like the sponsors that
He
came
brought
with
a
him
lot.
also departed with him. So these new sponsors coming in for Williams is like something big that they're trying to market, and then that's why their livery is very like corporate based. Like there's a lot of like those small liveries. It doesn't look good, It doesn't look like you said, nothing new, nothing flashy. I think the best thing on this livery, or not even the livery itself, the cars, like the wheels,
the rims, the tires, the blue.
Rims.
That shit is so fire. I'm a big fan of that.
It's sick.
In the night races, that's just gonna look so cool.
Yeah, and then I also like how like they integrated the Duracell battery.
Yeah,
Oh,
at the top.
yeah,
That's
the
so
top.
cool.
Yeah. But
I'm a fan of the Williams project because I don't know if you guys know this, but they signed James Vowles as their team principal, who has been involved with Mercedes,
yep.
in their whole dominant time. So with a guy that experienced with the winning, and you have a rookie driver in Logan Sargent and a very experienced driver who deserves his race win in Alex Albon, they might not hit the ground running. But like you said, Marco, with them having more sponsors and not sponsors related to the driver, it's more like a team, like they're sponsoring the team, not really coming from the driver. Williams could start working on a really, really sick project, and with, again, Vowles at the helm and one experienced driver who's willing to stay at the team and help them develop, and a rookie driver, they can make some noise.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'm not gonna lie, I like their dark blue, blackish, light blue combination of the Williams. I feel like it definitely refines their much older
white
like look, but the fact that it still has the blue, and that's definitely part of the Williams family, Like I wish they add a bit more white into it, like they had in the 90s, but like the dark blue and black combo, I think that's a solid color choice. They definitely stand out. Much better than the Red Bull for sure.
Definitely. And speaking about in the 90s and going back to your topic, even about signing James Vowles, they haven't won a title, Williams, since '97. So Val's coming in. He's bringing in that Mercedes culture. That winning culture, and they still need to appoint a technical officer.
Yeah, they're still needing a technical director.
But they like we were talking about McLaren earlier. Like that's one of their main competitors, and Williams finished dead last season, I believe, right?
Yeah. So there's only room to improve. There's only room to improve.
Exact. That's what we all believe. Room to improve. But then we never know that they can drop even lower. God forbid. But how the team's looking. They bring in this rookie Logan and Alex Albon. He's his second year. He's a good driver. Yeah. He's not cocky the way he drives.
Yeah.
He's a team player. And then Latifi's gone now. Bringing in Logan.
Yeah.
I feel like this Williams team's more actually a team.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
They seek for the future.
Definitely.
And that's I just have high hopes for Williams, and the livery, like we said, nothing special, but what they're bringing in with Valves is something looking forward to.
The only thing that I feel bad, I guess, for Logan about is Jos Capito, who was the old Williams team principal, is gone, and he was really, really developmental in acquiring Sargent. So he hasn't really I don't think they've really had much conversation between Logan and James Valls yet, because he's on some sort of break, I heard. But I know Alex Albon and Sargent have started to become a lot closer recently. So, yeah, I think this is a really good project for the future, and it could definitely turn some heads, and we might see glimpses of the old Williams, back into play.
But
yeah, for sure.
Following Williams, we had the Alfa Romeo reveal. Now, what's special about this reveal is that this is the first 2023 car reveal. All of these Red Bull and Williams, they revealed their 2023 livery on the 2022 car. This is the first time that the 2020
on that
Red Bull
44
had a livery reveal.
Boy.
We know that didn't change. We know it didn't change.
Shit, bro. Control C, Control V that bitch, bro. They've been doing that since 2016. They have not changed that livery since 2016, mate. There's no way they had livery.
I mean, if you, I don't know how could you speak when your team hasn't really changed the livery either?
Hey. We've been changing it. We're mixing up the red, the black, the white, the yellow. We're getting the color flow, mate. It's a palette of colors. It's a palette of colors.
Anyway, but speaking of Ferrari, their little sister company, Alfa Romeo. So what I think this is, I think it's a 2023 show car. It's kind of the one they just wanted to bring out to show people. I don't think it's going to be the actual race car that they use, because there's still a lot of.
I don't know.
There's
I think it's definitely going to keep a few details from that.
Yeah. But I think they're still working on the final product. But this is the 2023, because the mirrors are bigger. For in regulation size, but there's something in the floor, it's very scattered, or the floor is very broken up in pieces. And they're saying that might be on the car for Bahrain, because now there's only one testing. There's no Spain testing. It's only Bahrain.
Yeah.
So it's coming up. So, what do you guys view Alfa Romeo before I get into what I have to say about them? Because I think it's a really important subject to talk about, especially with the whole Audi thing going on.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
You want to go first?
Go on, Brian.
Alright, so I think since they are a works car, they're obviously going to go transition, and since this is their last year, they definitely want to make a solid impact as to how they can go out with. But having said that, this might just be the best Alpha we've ever seen in a very long time.
Sauber, basically.
And yes, it's Alfa Romeo Sauber combination, one of the best in all the previous.
Quick point. Alfa Romeo has no involvement in the team. They just pay to have their sticker on the car.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. It's because it's still Sauber.
Yeah,
and
it's only
something.
Sauber.
Yeah, but that might change with Audi though, because
it's going to change. They bought the whole team basically.
Yeah. So as Alfa Romeo's last time being a sticker on the Sauber car, the red and black, very aggressive, and definitive design, I think the chassis, for the most part, solid. 85-90% of it's going to stay the same. Underneath the floor, that's definitely going to probably change, but you won't know that until Bahrain. But with that said, the chassis itself looks very aggressive, very aerodynamically fit. It's a lot, I wouldn't say skinnier, but narrower towards the back end, almost looking like the Ferrari of the 2022 in some cases. And it doesn't have any of the zero side pods nonsense, because I'm not going to lie.
They copied Red Bull to an extent.
Yeah,
year,
I hate that. The 09 side pods are not
It's a mix between like Ferraris and Red Bull side pods.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's very aggressive, because the Red Bull definitely had one of the best side pods.
100%.
And the Ferrari had very also aerodynamically fit design. So I think they're definitely taking it seriously. In terms of the drivers, I mean, the rookie, yeah, he's good. Guan Yu Zhou's definitely.
He ain't a rookie no more.
Well, yeah, he's not a rookie no more, but you know, compared to everybody else in the grid, well, actually, Logan Sargent would be the rookie.
Nick DeVries.
But still, and Nick DeVries technically as well, and maybe Hulk as well. Although Hulk.
Nah, you can't consider him a rookie.
Yeah, but it is still going to be a second year, so you know, I don't know. I still kind of consider that like.
And Valtteri Bottas is one of the best drivers on the grid. Fair,
yeah,
plain and simple.
And he's going to be, I think, guiding Guan Yu Zhou like he did last season as well. I think they have a solid chance at fighting for definitely a good position in the constructors. However, because they are transitioning, the fact that they chose a very different leadership structure might come. I don't want to say it's not going to come to it. I don't want to say it's going to come to bite them, but I feel like it could potentially complicate things if they want to make further progression with the car later in the season. So, because they chose to go with no team principal and technically not a CEO as
Sato's
well.
the CEO.
Well, yeah, he's the CEO, but like
not team
it's not
principal.
exactly. Yeah, it's not team principal, and that's still.
He'll act like a team principal, but like he's CEO
but he
is what he
doesn't-
signed for. Yeah.
Yeah, and that doesn't CEO and team principal. It's not exactly the same role, and he can't just pull a Toto Wolff, you know. So I think that might definitely be a little bit interesting to see how that works. But other than that, I think the black and red I'm actually liking a lot. Very interesting with the choice of black. I didn't think they were going to go for that. I thought they were going to go with maybe a different shade of white, or they might splash on some of the other Italian colors. But the black was definitely a very interesting. Definitely we did not expect that color scheme. But
I agree with you,
I
Bryan. I agree with you. I was kind of expecting a livery kind of similar to last season's, you know, the white and red. But then looking back to last season, how the whites like looked on the track, it wasn't as vibrant as we saw in like the 2022 reveals. So like I think their choice of just going black and red is very simple, very nice. It complements the carbon fiber on the car very nicely.
That's
the thing.
Yeah.
Carbon fiber is black, right? So painting all that white over it is adding weight to the car.
100%.
So by making it only black, you're also taking off a lot of excess weight, which will make the car faster, in theory.
Yeah. Granted, you know, it's not much weight.
Not much, right.
It's weight nonetheless, you know. But like we said, simple design. I personally like it a lot. One of my top liveries so far, in my opinion. I think it's very black and red.
Yeah.
Yeah, so their main loss of performance last year was stability in the rear and fast speed corners. So that's the number one thing they worked on, was A, the rear, and B, the floor. And we saw that in the livery review. However, they also posted rendered images online about the car, and there were some key differences, mainly in the floor, compared to what they show. So that's why I think it's only a show car, but it's still a 2023 car. And yeah, I love the black of the car. I really, really do. It looks very aggressive, and people forget how fast and how good Alpha were off the bat last season. Right, they were Q3 contender every single race weekend in the start of the season. Guan Yu Zhou got points on his Zhou Guan Yu got points in his debut, And then like 4 or 5 races in, they fell off for the whole season, but then came back towards the end and became another top 10 Q3 contender. Now with maybe taking some more, I guess, the style of the car and concepts for both Red Bull and mainly Ferrari, and also granted that they're going to have a Ferrari engine, they might be a more consistent contender in Q3 and maybe even the points finishes towards the higher scoring points positions, now that they worked on the rear of the car and the floor drastically. So that's going to be really, really interesting to see because, you know, with like a driver at like Valtteri Bottas's resume on your team, you're going to be, you know, you have a very good quick driver at hand, and if he has the car to compete, especially what I've heard how much they've been spending due to the new cost cap regulations and the sponsorship money they've brought in, plus adding the Ferrari side pod and Red Bull side pod designs and really editing the floor and the rear, they look really, really good, and I think they're going to spice up the top midfield competition even more. Speaking about the top of midfield, got some breaking news from McLaren. You ready for this one?
Oh.
They're in talks.
Please be white and red livery. Please be white and red
livery. No, nothing to do with the season. Nothing to do with the season. This goes for 2026. They're in talks.
Oh, I think I heard that. I think I know what you're gonna say.
With Honda as an engine provider.
I heard that. I saw that.
And here's why. Well, first of all, let's all just get the elephant out the room. How terrible this combination was from 2015 to 2017. This was the worst car on the grid.
What do you mean? That was the best one. No, it was the fastest one.
If I was 21 at the time, I think I would put a lot of money on it breaking down on the formation lap. It was that bad.
Formation lap, bro. It wouldn't leave the garage. Tell me that it wouldn't leave the garage. You know?
That's when you got a lot of Fernando Alonso's best commentary moments. But 2017, it was a little better. But yeah, so basically, Honda quit F1 as an engine provider, quotation marks, in 2021 after mainly wanting to focus on their automotive business like the road business, and really focus on the EV side of things. So
they don't have an EV car.
They're focusing on they're focusing on like the hybrid side of things. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But they still provide engines to Red Bull up until 2025 for the end of that season. Now that Ford is in as well, and they are entered as a 2026 engine provider. However, they have no team to work with right now. Every other team is going for other engines, and you know, they have the works teams as well. So they really are really stuck in the mud at the moment, and they haven't made any progress on what team they would want to supply. And McLaren and Honda was a pretty rough breakup back in 2017. However, both cars, both sides of the party, got absolutely better from that breakup, right? You had Honda powering Red Bull to dominant, 2021, but a 2022 dominant victory. And you had McLaren, powered by Renault, really make strides up on top of the grid and develop drivers such as Carlos Sainz and Lando Norris, to name a few. Both parts of the X partnership are doing really, really well at the moment. However, McLaren don't really have a deal right now after they were stiffed from Mercedes. I don't think Mercedes will be supplying them anytime past 2026.
Wait, why are they stiffed?
I think Mercedes they did something to the deal, I heard, but they're not going to give them. They're not going to be in contract in 2026 for sure. However,
why? McLaren did something?
No, I don't know, but that's what I've heard.
I didn't hear about that part.
Me either. I didn't hear about that.
But also another component to this is, again, the only reason why Honda's name is considered with McLaren, as like they seem to be the only two teams or the only parties without a deal right now. However, Andreas Seidl is the CEO of Alfa Romeo right now, right? Where did he come from last year? McLaren. Now that's going to be the Audi car powered by Porsche, most likely, or just the Audi group or the Volkswagen group in general. So another contender for the McLaren 2026 engine supplier is whoever supplies that Alfa Romeo / Audi to be, because they have such strong connection between Zach Brown and Andreas Seidl. Also, I heard Zach Brown did also go to the Red Bull powertrains facility to investigate them as well, which is kind of ironic because Lando Norris has been heavily recruited by Red Bull, and the team that Lando Norris drives for is looking at partnering with Red Bull's engine. So that's the bit of news if you guys want to react to that, because I thought it was pretty interesting.
Marco, do you want to go or you want me to go?
I mean, you can go. I got my thoughts about this because it's an interesting subject. You know, it's I don't know. It's very
because 2026 it's all going to be like 100% no emissions, like none of that. They're going to be net zero by then, which is why Honda wants to come back into Formula One. There's not going to be really. Like, I know the energy store of the car and the electrical sides are going to gain power, and all the petrol parts of the car are going to lose, like, power. But it's going to be more electrical, more climate efficient, and all that, things like that.
You know, it's funny how you bring that in, because Formula One, I understand this is net zero emissions nonsense, but honestly, you know exactly what I'm going to say. But, I find this very stupid that Formula One's trying to go into that direction. Like, I understand the car is going to be net zero this, net zero that, climate efficient, solar powered.
Solar powered? I don't know about that one.
Well, at the rate that they're going, they might as well just slap on a few solar panels. But here's the thing. Formula One isn't Formula E. Formula E's Formula E. Its shit's literally electric. Leave that as Formula E. Leave Formula One, Formula One. I want the screaming engines. I want the V10s back. I want real Formula One. I don't want those piss quiet cars, fucking the ones that I have parking out in my neighborhood, humming like they're fucking 10 elephants stampeding through my house, mate. I want a freaking normal looking and sounding F1 car. I want that shit shrunken down in size, shrunken down in width, still keeping the same safety, screaming V10 engines. At least give us back the V8s. We at least start with the V8s. And I want that car to actually look and sound aggressive, not like a fucking hummingbird fucking sniffing out the shit out of a flower, mate. That's what Formula E's for. Leave Formula E, and Formula One.
Sniffing what out of a flower?
Exactly. So, the other thing is that that was a mouthful for sure. The other thing is I hate when they start going into all this like net zero emissions. Like, yeah, it's gonna be net zero emissions. That's what Formula E is. Okay, yeah, but that's what Formula E's for. At least give us like V8s, mate. Come on, there's like nothing to work.
Well, the fastest era of Formula One cars were the 2020 cars. That was by MPH average the fastest set of Formula One cars.
Okay, but they're still going away from that. They're going even further from that, technically, which is retarded. At least keep that, you know? But anyway, the Honda McLarens. That's an interesting one because Honda in the 80s and 90s was an absolute demon. I mean, that shit propelled 84, 5, 6, 8, 9, 90, 91, 90... Oh. Well, yeah, 7 years worth of championships, and basically, yeah, that was an unstoppable demon, and I think that's definitely. Here's the thing, it could go completely. We could have another season where it was 2015, 2016, 2017 McLaren Honda, or we could have 88, 89, 90, 91. McLaren Honda relationship, which that would be the most ideal case scenario because that era was unstoppable. But knowing where Honda's come from being power engine suppliers to becoming an actual team, to then leaving the sport altogether, coming back, leaving it again, coming back, leaving it again. Honda's all over the place with that nonsense. But when they really do stick it out with a really good team, they can make shit happen, and we've seen that from time to time. What they did with Red Bull, what they did with McLaren in the 90s, I mean, and in the 80s as well. So this is very tricky, but I think that if Honda really gets serious about this, and they're not going to pull their last minute pull the rope shit, if they really decide to stick it out, and they really decide to get serious about this, I feel like they can make a killer power and powerful engine, and really serious shit. You know, that's that. Trying to think the other engine suppliers. I mean, there is rumors of Cadillac and Andretti. And right now, Andretti is kind of dominating Formula E with very new, despite it being, I think, if I'm not mistaken, their first year in it. But that's a topic for a different conversation. I feel like Andretti and Cadillac definitely going to be something interesting. Interesting combo. And the reason I bring that up is because Cadillac would be a very new engine provider as well. You might have Honda coming in. You're having Ford coming in. Maybe
Ford's
Porsche
really just like an engine partner. They're not necessarily they're not providing their own engine really.
Yeah. But who knows? They might in like 2027, let's say,
or
2028. They did that in 92 and 93, although that was a piece of shit.
But they don't want to because they don't want, like, the reason why they're only they were all like, the reason why Porsche and Red Bull broke down is because Porsche wanted way too much of Red Bull. Yeah. And the reason why Red Bull and Ford worked is because Ford barely wanted a piece of Red Bull.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want to spend that much money on Red Bull, and Red Bull wants to really focus on their own F1 operations, not really have to defer to Ford. You know, that's why they built this whole engine facility in the first place.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I don't know. I feel like Ford's just probably going to be that one-off case. They're going to stick strictly to Red Bull. Cadillac's going to stick strictly to Andretti, and then Honda. What about Honda? Again, you still have Renault on the grid with Alpine. So they're going to have a one case off scenario because I don't think anybody else is going to want to go for a Renault engine. And then Honda might just have their own one case scenario as well.
Yeah.
So that's going to be very interesting to see, at least for the first year. But that's my opinion. That's my take. I mean, the increased electrical power usage, okay. Yeah, I mean, sure, but again, this isn't Formula E. I don't want them to convert this shit into Formula E. You know, that's my biggest problem, is that they're going to try to convert this shit, or they're looking forward to converting it into Formula E, but Formula E is its own thing. Actually, interesting case, Formula 1, despite them trying to put more electrical power, I've read that they can't actually go full electric even if they wanted to right now, because Formula E has its own set of rights that prevents any other thing from going electric and deciding to race, let's say.
Well, Formula 1 are hypocrites because they're all about net zero. However, they add races to the calendar. But what's stupid is they go from like, they have now what, 3 USA races? No, 4.
Mm-hmm.
3.
No, 3. Yeah,
3. USA,
3. Vegas, Texas,
Miami,
and Miami.
Texas.
Yeah, so, but they go from Miami back wherever.
No, we start first from Bahrain.
Well, but in terms of USA, they start in Miami, go do more races, then they come back for Texas, do more races, and then they go to Vegas. Why not make a 3-part or a 4-part season of, you start in I don't know,
go country by country.
Start in Europe, then USA or the Americas, right? You have USA, and then the Brazil Grand Prix, and
Mexico,
and I think Colombia is going to join in a couple years. That's what I've heard. Yeah,
that'll be interesting. See.
Yeah, and then you move to the Asias, the China, Japan, and then even the Malaysia. Well, that's not there, sadly. I want it back so badly.
Love that to come back.
Singapore, Yas Marina, Bahrain. Instead of going from continent to continent and wasting so many more miles and more emissions because all these big ass trucks have to carry the parts and the parts of the paddock, like, they're the real hypocrites in all this. But oh well. But as your point about the Cadillac thing. Cadillac, it's been hurt. Like, I think Andretti wants to use their like own thing, and they kind of want to replicate a Red Bull Ford thing. However, they're not like, F1 might not allow that. However, they allowed it for Red Bull and Ford, so it's kind of weird right now between them.
Yeah, I don't know. Andretti and Cadillac relations are getting a lot of hate, which is why I'm thinking that Cadillac's definitely gonna. I mean, it's GM, for fuck's sake. They're definitely gonna build I think, an engine for Andretti. I don't think Andretti has the resources to physically build their own engine, at least in their first year, if they decide to join in Formula One.
Yeah.
But again, I think they're definitely going to start off with Cadillac, and I'm not gonna lie. I think they're just going to keep Cadillac because I think that Cadillac. I mean, Cadillac's reliability in regular cars is pretty good. It's pretty okay. So I think that if they get their shit together and they decide to get serious, it all depends on how serious they decide to get. If they decide to get serious, they could build something good. It's the same with any other company, but I think that they have to get serious. You know, the same thing with Honda. Honda's built good engines in the past. They have to get serious because Honda's sometimes decides to pull out, then they come back in, then they pull out again, and then they come back in. They can never decide, you know?
Yeah. Any thoughts from you, Marco, on this subject?
Or? Yeah, I just want to make it short and sweet because Brian's or Ferrari, man, is very enthusiastic about his zero emission.
Yeah. Because it just drives me nuts. I mean,
screw Formula E, even though, Formula E's got its own thing going on, I respect it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, but going back to like McLaren and Honda, it could be a 50-50 thing, going into 2026, because seeing zero emissions, every engine supplier has to like innovate, by that time, and see who the fastest at that time will be. And all these new engine suppliers are coming into the mix as well. So, everybody has a new like opportunity to show what they're made of, and like how Brian or Ferrari man will say, I don't know, man. I keep calling you.
Call
Brian.
me the one.
Yeah, the Ferrari man.
But you say I prefer Ferrari man. My bad.
That's good, mate.
But yeah, every engine supplier has to, have a straight face on and be focused on what they want to do and innovate in the next 10 years. Because going into this new decade, we're going to see a lot of regulation changes. A lot of things are going to change within the sport. So it's going to be exciting to see. It's not going to be no more, like Ferrari man once said, V10s, the V8s. We're not going to see
it's
that
sad,
anymore.
And do you know why that is, though? Ferrari man?
Ferrari man, go on.
Wait, what was that?
Do you know why they want to implement more electrical components? Most likely.
I don't know, because they want to go freaking copy.
Well, that's something, but to make it more competitive, they probably don't want a whole Mercedes takeover and even Red Bull takeover happening again because, let's be honest, the championship was decided race 5. Max Verstappen spun out, Leclerc passed him, and then Max overtook and finished 14 seconds ahead of him. Red Bull were too dominant last year. I mean, fair play to Red Bull, obviously, but Formula E is hella competitive. Like, there are top teams, right? There are teams that are better than others. However, you don't know who's going to win on any given night, any given race. You could bet your money on every race last year that Max Verstappen would finish at least second place.
True.
Right.
True.
They don't want that again. They want more competition, which is why it's vital for teams like Haas, who are now have that big MoneyGram sponsor, to perform well. It's vital for Alfa Romeo to perform well, and teams like Aston Martin, because if the disparity between performances in the top and of the grid to like the more bottom to middle part of the grid don't change, that's a bad look for Formula One, because there's all these regulation changes that happened 2 years ago mean basically nothing. So then they're going to have to take that petrol power off and make it more electrical power to make it more competitive. And it's going to be a more designs will win you the race, better car setups will win you the race. Red Bull could have taken off like 3,000 horsepower and they still probably would have won every race last year, like they were that dominant.
But at the same time, it's just like I don't want that shit to sound like a fucking like a hybrid car. I don't want that humming them
it was 2010 or whatever year. It was like the top 6 going into the last race could have won the championship. I think that's the one Raikkonen won. Was that the one Raikkonen won?
2010 was when Vettel won the first one. It was between actually Alonso was leading the standings. It was Alonso. It could have gone. It was a 5 or 6 way deal between Alonso, Vettel, Webber, Hamilton.
Yeah.
And Jenson Button.
Yeah.
5 people.
So you're never gonna really see that again.
But that's cool though. That's really cool. Like I want to see that again. That's kind of cool.
Because people have done really, really well in the turbo hybrid era. Mercedes early on, and now Red Bull. So because they're gonna make it more competitive by most likely making it more electrical and less reliant on,
That's true, but at the same time, I don't want the only thing. Yeah, but the thing is, I don't want the only thing to determine a race is whoever builds the most aerodynamical car and whoever has the best setup. Because if that's the case, if those are the only 2 factors that is
won't
really
be the only 2 factors, but the main factor of
but
Ferrari man,
not enough to be a main factor.
Only 2 factors. Let me see you design a F1 car aerodynamically.
No, I know
that's not an easy feat to do, man. Having a nice aerodynamic car that just makes a nice slipstream and just splits that air and just gets the job done. These engineers have to put a lot of hours in, making sure their drivers are able to use the car as a tool to win the championships. That's most importantly, because the drivers, I believe, are a secondary thing to the sport. They're the ones that use the car and everything.
The machinery, yeah, they're probably the most essential to the sport. Because without them, who else is gonna?
They're complete. Like if you don't have a good driver, you'd rather have, I guess, a really good car and
then
a bad
average
as
driver.
a team, and
No, I'd rather have a really good driver than a really good car.
As a team leader, you'd rather have a really
No.
You'd rather have a fast car.
Yeah, true, but a really good driver could take even a shittier car to the.
But how would you know?
I get what you're saying.
How would you know the abilities of a really good driver in a shitty car, though?
This is Lando Norris, who is trapped in that fucking shitbox of a McLaren.
God forbid Lando for Norris.
God
help that man.
He has the same, if not better, talent than Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen called out Lando Norris and said he has a chance to win this championship without even seeing the McLaren car this year. That man has so much talent, but they completely you could tell he was a better driver because look where Daniel Ricciardo was finishing, and look where Norris was finishing. But Norris still only had 1 podium in 22 races.
Yeah.
That car was terrible.
21.
If they did not have Lando Norris, they would not be 5th in the constructors. Hell no.
100% no.
Yeah.
But you'd rather have a quick car because having a quick car would help develop a driver to becoming quicker.
100%.
It's debatable. I don't know. Obviously, I'd rather have a little bit of both, but honestly, that's something I'd have to think about. I would say quick, better driver, but then again,
and then you'll lose him to a quicker car, is what you're saying. Why? If you could build a quick car, and there's another team out there who you're competing against who have a slow car but a quick driver, that quick driver will want to come to your quick car. But if you have a quick driver and a slow car, and you're competing against a team that has a quick car, that your quick driver will leave.
I understand, but then again,
an uphill battle, man.
That is true. But then again, you have, let's say, examples of a 92 and 93 Senna in the McLaren. That was when Ford came into McLaren.
I wasn't alive in 92, 93. I'm going to be completely honest with you.
I'll tell you what happened. Ford came in, and they thought they were the shit, and they weren't the shit. So they built a much slower car, but Senna still managed to put up the offense in a much slower and extremely underpowered car, especially up against a Renault Williams at the time, especially in 93. My man was giving Prost the work. He was giving him the work.
Respectively, Ferrari, man. We don't see Senna.
Yeah, that is true.
In today's seasons, man.
That's true. That was.
Who we do see though? We see Lewis Hamilton. How bad did he struggle last season?
True.
This man was ultra dominant. Yes, because he's an insane driver, but because Mercedes could not be topped for 7 years.
Yep.
You know who the only other person who won the championship in that time frame? His damn teammates, who also drove for Mercedes.
Yeah.
So you'd rather have a quick car. I mean, I know you're a Ferrari fan, so you're not really used to quick cars these days, but yeah, you definitely would rather have one.
Hey, that's a violation. We literally had
his red fire truck. He likes his red fire truck.
It's not a fire truck, bro. That's just a
It
quick
moves like
bullet.
a fire
No,
truck.
that should yo, that requires a fire truck. What? How bad it's on fire?
That there's a violation there. No, bro. Honestly, I'm gonna get a quick quote from Enzo. Aerodynamics is for chumps that can't build.
Yeah, and when was
That's
Enzo
far.
alive? In like the 1980s, when that shit didn't really matter.
Mate, this is all I'm saying, mate.
He barely did anything in Formula One. He was mainly a part of like Le Mans racing.
Yeah.
Nah, he was part of Formula One.
Barely.
What are you talking about?
Barely, yeah.
He was there. He was sitting on trackside with chilling with the lizard, you know?
Speaking of Ferrari though, Valentine's Day is there.
That's where I'm giving all the kisses to. I'm giving all the kisses.
But the day after, Mercedes, and I'm hoping I see the black car return. I'm praying.
Black car would be sick.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see.
You mean this chap?
Oh, because don't they still wear black suits?
They still do.
I think they do, right? Yeah.
They still do.
Bro, that
black and with a light green.
Yeah, yeah.
They make black and light, and the light green that they have come back.
We'll see, man. We'll see.
And a little bit of silver, just a little bit, like a teeny splash.
Yeah.
Like a paintbrush of it.
Yep. Well.
Hey, where'd Marco go?
Anyways, guys, that's gonna wrap it up for this episode of the 3 Wide podcast. However, we are all going racing on Sunday, and you definitely know that I will have some content up of that race on my main channel, which I'll leave in the link in the description. And if you want to see the Ferrari man in the barrier, you go watch that video.
That's cap. If you want to see a lizard on the track.
If you want to see him bottom of the podium, then come check our next video.
Yes, sir.
Where we'll display record lap times while dusting the sky.
Yes, sir. You heard the man. Anyway, guys.
That's cap, mate. That's cap.
Anyway, everyone have a good day. Take care and peace, everybody.
Lizard out.